Josh Sargent looked a step off the pace. He lost the ball a couple of times. Now, he would find the right spot. And I look at if you look at the 16th minute, it's actually 15:02 if you're watching the game, if you replay the game. He pops up into a good spot. The ball gets played to his feet, but he is too slow to react and loses the ball. Just because I don't know if he anticipated a defender. He maybe didn't check his shoulder, but it's a poor touch and he loses possession. That's just one instance. And
yeah,
I
think by the way,
to be more involved, right? I just think when
you're going to always be more critical. You're a striker.
Yes.
You're going to look at it through a very different lens. From my perspective on Josh Sargent, I thought that he was. I think we've set the bar relatively low for our strikers now of like, can they hold the ball? Can they pass the ball? Can they do the things that I think we've struggled to see sometimes our strikers do? And then, and on that context, I was like, okay, he's finding the ball. He doesn't look out of place, right? He's battling, he's scrapping. But like you said, our striker does need to do more, especially if we're going to play in this type of system.
I'm obviously looking at the 9. I'm going to be probably more laser focused to see how that 9 is and how they affect the game. Yeah. Josh Sargent, without him, that goal doesn't happen. So I've already said he was extremely important in the build up to that goal. His hold up play it made it possible. But and then in the 46th minute, in the first minute of extra time in the first half, he brings down a ball. The ball's flighted to his chest. He brings it down, calm in possession, and then he keeps it moving. So those are two things that I picked out, and I said, wow, that's good from Josh Sargent, but largely ineffective. He looked a step off. It was slow. He lost possession. It didn't really impact the game outside of those few moments. So it wasn't a good performance from Josh Sargent, although he played a critical role in the goal. And then I would say I think Weston McKennie probably should have came off sooner. Halftime probably wouldn't have been a good sub for Brent Aronson to get into the game, just because the way that Wales were playing, you didn't have to rely on set pieces because they weren't getting set pieces. We weren't committing these bad fouls. So I think Brent Aronson coming into the game at that point would have been a good moment just for starting the press.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that he struggled to really find the rhythm of the game too, because it was like these swing. He had to experience the swings of Wales settling in and being in decent form, and then trying to climb our way out of a 1-1 in that type of situation. Was it at all shocking to you that the players that we talked about making this roster as bubble players, right? We had players not even on the roster. We had Jordan Morris not on the roster. Haji Wright not on the roster. These guys played in the opening match. And we know that, obviously, Jordan Morris, circumstantial player. We know he's been really good for the national team over his history. Haji Wright, a circumstance-based player in terms of being a target and something different. But we went straight into the depths of our rosters right away in this first game. And does it make you think maybe we brought the right group of players, knowing that we're going to probably use more than we thought we were going to use, thinking about those two guys getting in this first match?
Yeah, we brought the right players. I don't have any doubt, because you expect these guys to play 90 minutes for the most part, your best players, because they are young. It's not that they're, 30, 35 years old. A lot of these guys are 22 years old, 24 years old, 19, 22, 24, 25, 22. Those are the players who are getting the most run. So you expect, we don't need to go, make substitutions at the 60th minute unless they're ineffective.
So on that, Charlie,
the 9 is still the position.
you can't let the 9 go, can you?
I can't.
You just can't let it go.
Because that's why I'm saying put Tim Weah. The goal that he scored is a class number 9 finish. Fantastic finish. The timing of the run, the way he ran, the pace, the strength.
Shifted off his left foot to hit it with the right.
Play him at the 9.
Yeah.
And that way you can get Aronson or Gio Reyna, God bless his soul, that he's 100% healthy and fit for England, because I think that's a player that we could have used in that attacking third, just because he gives you a little bit something different. He can take players. He's not afraid to take players on the dribble, and he can. So please put Way at the 9. Please.
Hey, let me ask you this.
He gives you the pace too.
Okay, let me ask you this then. Christian Pulisic, the guy that we've all talked about, our fearless leader, Christian Pulisic, Champions League winner, Christian Pulisic.
Yes.
Still seemed like he wanted the ball in places where he could drop down deep and get the ball. And like you said, whether it's with Sargent or others, at times really struggled to I think, be impactful on the level. Now, what I do want to preface this with is our young players looked better than Wales. Our team was better than Wales, I think. I think we deserved 3 points against Wales in this match. But a Christian Pulisic, do you think that he was effective in the way that he was playing? Do you think, obviously, the setup, the goal, the ball that he is, that's where we want the situations that we want him. But if he's dropping back that deep, or he's having to combine, or at times feel like he's taking on a lot of responsibility, where it's like almost better to get the ball in these sort of chaotic moments where the opposition is unbalanced and you can make 1 or 2 passes. I mean, what was your take on his performance in this game?
I think Christian was largely active. I liked his approach. He was being, I think, aggressive. There were times where he probably did a little too much, but he was earning corner kicks that we didn't do much with. But he was earning it. He's getting fouled. Players are going to foul him. He's shifty. He's our playmaker. Expect to get fouled. And then you hope that the ref brandishes yellow cards left and right. And then all of a sudden, now they can't take risks with stepping to him. Could he have been better? Yes, but for me, he was one of the bright spots on the pitch tonight for the US. So I'm actually optimistic and positive with Christian's play tonight. That obviously he took a few more touches in some areas of the field and gets fouled, but no, I think I'm positive about his performance. And then, I think
any others that stand out for you that were
Tim Ream for me. Again, you talked about a player not in the squad, not even close to it, comes in, starts in the first half, didn't put a foot wrong.
Yeah.
And they weren't threatening either. So it worked out perfectly for Greg Berhalter, because he said, man, Wales is going to drop back. Guess what? We have a center back who's calm and confident on the ball. And you could see Zimmerman deferred to Tim Ream. He got the ball right to Tim Ream. You break the team down. And he wasn't afraid to fizz balls in between the lines. So I liked exactly what Tim Ream played. And the relationship with Tim Ream and Walker was great in the first half. They knew how to cover Daniel James and made it predictable. One would step, one would drop. And that played an important role in the goal. Tim Ream went for it. Walker Zimmerman covered. So I think in the first half was great. In the second half, when they brought in Kiefer Moore, that's when it changed.
Yeah.
And not that it got crazy, but Walker Zimmerman didn't have to lunge on Gareth Bale in the box. You never go to ground in that instance when his back is to the goal, and he basically used all the legs he had.
Yeah. Well, let's welcome in our resident center back, James P. Conrad. Jimmy, thanks for joining us, man. Obviously, you are there. You are in Doha. You are experiencing all that is U.S. men's national team. Tell us your initial thoughts. Obviously, Charlie's breaking down a little bit of like first half versus second half. Talked a little bit about Weston McKennie struggling to really look like he was comfortable or find his form. Mentioned Josh Sargent needing to do more. And we were just now onto the center backs with Walker Zimmerman and Tim Ream, where he was complimentary of that center back pairing until the second half. Obviously,
Tim Ream in particular was sharp tonight.
Yeah, and Kiefer Moore coming on and changing the dynamic of that game, almost neutralizing them in some ways, and giving Wales now an outlet that even made Rambo a better player in the second half.
Yeah, it's great to see you guys as always. Hopefully you're getting me a little bit.
You look a lot more sharper today. More
Thanks,
alert.
buddy. I appreciate
Did you come from the game?
Yeah.
Did you go to the game?
I didn't go to the game. No, I have to be kind of on a stage away from it, but I'm hopeful. My credential gets me into games. I just have to figure out a way to get there. Overall, the first half, I was really proud. I thought we controlled the game. We were dictating the flow of the game, the rhythm of the game. I thought that the connection between Sargent and Weah in particular was very good in terms of when Sargent dropped into midfield, Weah would know to really get in advance of him. And that ultimately led to the goal that we scored, a very good goal. And then I'm pretty sure I'd be really surprised if Greg didn't tell the guys that they're going to make adjustments. They can't play as poor as they did in the first half. Something's going to have to change. I was pretty surprised that Dan James came out and Kiefer Moore came in. Maybe somebody else, but I thought pretty surprised that Dan James. Either way, Kiefer Moore comes in, and that's already a signal of intent that they're going to try to do something different, that they're going to try to commit some more numbers. And ultimately, that makes Gareth Bale's game a little bit easier. He has somebody to play off of him that's a little bit more in advance of the ball. And I felt like we just continued to sit back and absorb and sit back and absorb. Did we have a chance or two to potentially kill off the game? Maybe nothing clear cut.
Don't you think that was a little bit of that sitting back versus like being on that front foot of willing to say, hey, there might be a second out of here. But it seemed like it was very much like we got our one goal. let's be grateful for that and let's grind this out. But that means, you know, as Charlie and I just talked about, you pretty much got to be perfect for the rest of the match. Talking specifically about the Walker Zimmerman incident.
No, of course. Yeah. I mean, with regard to Walker, I mean, if we really try to nitpick, that ball on the sideline looked like it might have been out. That said, we had more than enough guys in that area of the field that probably should have done something a little bit better, may have been a little bit more switched on when Wales took a quick throw in. You know, these are the little things that maybe you pick up on. I don't know. I don't really want to talk about inexperience here. It might be some low-hanging fruit that if we had a little bit of an older team, like we're probably not going to make that mistake again with a quick throw in and somebody not sliding over a little bit quicker. Yeah, Walker Zimmerman, I mean, we can kind of slice it all the ways that we want, but Walker Zimmerman just can't dive in there. There's just no reason for him to dive in there. And I really want to give a shout out to Gareth Bale for his savvy there, because that's something a proper number 9 would do, that if you can sense that you can get to the ball first, all you have to do is get yourself between a ball and a lunging defender, and you put yourself in a position to earn a penalty.
Yes.
And that's when we saw. When I saw it firsthand or in real time, I thought, I don't know. I think Bale's making a meal of it. And then you see it, you're like, nope, that is the whole meal. And Walker took the biggest chunk out of him. And it's disappointing. As a defender, you can be very good for 99% of the game, but it's that 1% if you don't make that play. Now you're the one that everybody thinks, not to say sucks, but, costs us the game. And that's unfortunate because, he'd been solid for a number of times for us and solid tonight until that one moment. And that's it. I mean, we've talked about this before, Heath and Charlie. Yeah. It's the fine margins at this level. And we didn't make that 1 or 2 plays that could have helped us get all 3 points.